Okay, we're going to find out very quickly what's happening across Africa. Okay, so first we're going to go to Egypt. Something really, really drastic is happening between Egypt and Zambia. Yes, Egypt and Zambia are about to go at it. You better find out about this. And then we're going to go to Burundi. If you ever heard of Burundi before, this is Burundi on a map. Well, something drastic is happening between Burundi and Belgium. They've actually chased away a white Belgian development official for talking too much. You need to find out about this. And then we're going to Mali. Yes, Mali and Algeria are not getting along at all. Matter of fact, Mali has taken Algeria to court over the claims that Algeria shot down a Malian surveillance drone. So basically, the Malians were surveilling terrorists using drones, specialized drones, and the Algerian shot the Malian drone. Crazy stuff. Why would they do this? Why would they do that? Are Algerian terrorists? You better find out about this. What's happening, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. Very quickly across Africa, you certainly want to know what's happening. Now, in Egypt, something massive has happened. Egypt has refused a friendly match. We're talking about soccer against Zambia. Soccer or football. Okay, you call it soccer, we call it football. Anyway, soccer or football. Now, Egypt has refused to play against Zambia. The Egyptian Football Association has declined proposed friendly match against Zambia. Why has Egypt refused to play against Zambia? Because of the presence of Zambia's national coach staff. Now, there is a person who's from somewhere Egypt doesn't want. Yes, from the country you don't name. Egypt is not happy at all. They don't want to play against Zambia because one of the trainers of Zambia come from the country you don't name. That is big and is massive. Why? Because Egypt doesn't agree with them. Number one, because of Gaza. What's happening in Gaza, Egypt thinks is absolutely insane. Egypt has been sidelined from ceasefire negotiation with the Israeli official, reportedly cutting off communication with Cairo. You remember Donald Trump came up with an idea. They wanted to send the Palestinians, some of them to Jordan, some of them to Egypt. You know, like take them out of their land. Imagine being told to leave your land, your native land, to go to a foreign land. Go stay there. For Donald Trump to fix your land and make it a brand new paradise. For who? We don't know. Now, Egypt said we're not accepting these people here. They're not leaving the country. That is where they were born. They should stay there. If you want to fix the place, fix it whilst they're there. Now, Egypt has been very much against what's happening in Gaza, but they cannot express themselves openly because they want to balance the relationship with the United States of America. And you know, right now, if you say something against the country you don't name, I'm sorry, I'm saying the country you don't name, not because I'm going to explain. The reason why you say the country you don't name is because when you say the name of the country, unfortunately, your video is shadow banned. You know what shadow banning is? Let's say you have 100,000 followers. Your video, when it's shadow banned, will only be distributed to perhaps 5,000 people. I'm sorry, it's been very consistent. Every time you say the country you don't name, it happens that way. It's the same as the guy that owns all the computers in the world. You know that guy? If you say his name, your video is shadow banned. That's why you have to find an alternative. It's crazy. It's crazy what we learn throughout. Now, Egypt has said we're not playing against Zambia because Zambia's got a trainer from the country you don't name. And the country you don't name, we have an issue with them because of the things that's happening in that place that you know. Now, is that a good thing to do or not? Now, I believe that people should be strong with their own convictions. I mean, if you have convictions and you believe your convictions are being violated, you should be strong enough to stand for it. I mean, anybody can, same for the country you don't name, they have their own convictions. If you stand against their convictions, you're going to be the enemy. Same for Donald Trump. If you stand against America, you're going to be their enemy. Shouldn't Egypt stand strong for those people that are suffering right now? I mean, let me remind you here, South Africa went to court against a country you don't name. You know what has happened? There's major consequences. Donald Trump has hit them with accusations of genocide against white people, hit them with wanting to take the lands back from white people by force. All of this has been proven to be not correct. There's no genocide of white people happening in South Africa. Yes, are white people being unalive? Yes, they are. Are black people being unalive? Yes, they are too. So there's no genocide as described in the books, in dictionary, happening in South Africa. But because South Africa took the country you don't name to court, Donald Trump hit them with several things. Number one, no more AIDS, okay? Finish. No more helping people with diseases and stuff like that. Number three, they have major tax happening on top of them. Tariffs of 31% South Africa has to pay. And the economy is going through hurdles. We've even heard that the United States of America are proposing to kick South Africa out of SWIFT system. That is very dangerous. My brother, you're going to suffer if you kicked out of SWIFT. And now we're moving to Burundi. Yes, Burundi here. Beautiful place, lovely people. Have you been to Burundi before? It's very nice. Notre Dame de Roero. You got to go visit Burundi. We don't talk enough about Burundi. It's gone through a lot of problems, but it's a very beautiful place. Some nice beaches, big lake, Tanganyika Lake, massive, very, very nice. And women, my brother, look at this, and this, and that, and this. Oh, okay, forget about women, okay? So something happened in Burundi. In Burundi, the director of Belgian development agency, Enabel, has been declared persona non grata in Burundi. Because he briefly shared on his social media an article denouncing fuel shortage and a black market activity in Burundi. Burundi has declared persona non grata a representative from Belgium. Who is this person? They represent a company named Enabel. Who is Enabel? Enabel is a company that provides funds for poor countries. I mean, like shithole countries. No, not shithole countries. They provide funds for countries in difficulties. They're a little bit like USAID, but that's Belgian version of USAID. Now, these people are in many African countries, including Burundi. This representative shared on his social media an article saying that Burundi is running through fuel shortage and black market booming right now. And the Burundian government declared him persona non grata and gave him 48 hours to leave the country. And now, piga my coffee. Yeah. Okay, why are we pigging my coffee? Pigging my coffee out of context because I think it's important to have sovereignty, a level of respect, okay? People should just come to your country and say whatever they want, especially if it goes against the internal politics or policies, right? Is there fuel shortage in Burundi? Yes, there is no fuel in Burundi right now. It's very expensive. Matter of fact, a lot of Burundians are going, look at the map, they're going to DRC or to Tanzania to get fuel for their cars. Because of a lack of foreign currency. So Burundi is struggling right now with foreign currency. Why is that important? Let me put it this way, simple for you. For you to buy fuel, you need to use dollars in most cases. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you have South African rand, Zimbabwean dollar, whatever. Yeah, you need to use US dollars. So you need to change your money from your money to US dollars to purchase. Or maybe you need to take from your foreign exchange, your foreign money that you have in your banks and buy fuel. If you don't have US dollars, you can't buy fuel. It's not possible. You remember that Americans went to Saudi Arabia a long, long time ago. They had an agreement saying, we provide you with security and protection. You promise us that you will only sell your fuel in US dollars. So that's the petrodollar. That's how dollars became like the currency of the world. So if you want to make a purchase, buy oil, fuel for your country, you need to use dollars. Now, Burundi doesn't have enough dollars. Why? Because Burundi doesn't export very much in various areas. Okay, so they have difficulties and the country has been through the most. Some people believe Burundi has been very much opposing the West rhetoric. Back in time when the president was Nkurunziza, that was when COVID was blatant. You remember when COVID started and all countries in the world shut down and stuff and Americans were under the bed and all that stuff. Well, some of the countries in Africa did not shut down, including Tanzania and Burundi. Okay, they say we're not shutting down because we don't believe in this nonsense you're telling us. We don't believe it's truth. Now, that went against the narrative, the international narrative. Now, guess what happened? The president at the time in Tanzania was this man right here. His name was Magufuli. What happened to him? He was unalive. Now, this president here, Nkurunziza, also refused to lock people down. What happened to him? He was unalive. Well, can we say something in common they have right there? We don't know. Some people believe they were unalive by force. Now, since back then, Burundi kicked out international representative from World Health Organization and many other organizations. And some people believe there is a reason why they're trying to make sure that the country fails so they can prove to the world, if you don't follow our guidance, you're not going to succeed. Now, my other question is this one. Was this Belgian representative wrong by saying that Burundi is going through a shortage of fuel? No, he was telling the truth. Now, should you tell every truth in every circumstances in a foreign land? Absolutely not. You're not going to go to Ukraine and say, well, the Russians are killing the Ukrainians at the rate that is unprecedented. You can't say that as a foreign person. You need to shut your mouth and keep to your own business. Are we together? Now, should we say Burundi has made itself respected? Probably. Now, does this mean it resolved Burundi's problem? Absolutely not. Let me know how you feel about that. It was a great pleasure. And now we're moving to Mali. Now, Mali is taking Algeria to court. This is Mali on the map. It's a beautiful place, lovely people. They're taking Algeria to court for something drastic. On September 5, Mali filed a formal case of the International Court of Justice calling an incident a blatant act of aggression and accusing Algeria of malicious actions. So let me put it very simply to you. Mali is a country at war right now. There's a big chunk of Mali that is not within the Malian government's control. So there are some people in Mali that don't look black, okay? Let me just make it very stupid. They look Arabic, okay? Some of them want to cut the country into two parts. They say they don't want to be part of the black people. They want to have their own country. Now, Mali refused to accept that. It's unacceptable. It's our country. Now, it is believed that Algeria supports these people with weapons and intelligence. It is believed. Now, Mali was conducting operation to try to locate these people using Russian drones. And at this specific time, they saw where these people were hiding and they were just about to go and bomb them. And this was very close to Algeria. You look at the map, Mali and Algeria, they're very close. So northern Mali, right next to Algeria. At that specific time when Mali was trying to bombard these terrorist people, Algeria shot down their drone. And Mali was very angry. Like, why would you shoot down a drone that's trying to shoot down terrorists? Unless you are their friend, or maybe you are them. So the relationship between Mali and Algeria has gone south very quickly.
Press release number 073 from the Transitional Government. The Transitional Government regrets to inform the public that on the night of March 31st to April 1st, 2025, a drone belonging to the Armed and Security Forces of the Republic of Mali, registered TZL98D, crashed on national territory at Tinzaouaten in Abebara Circle, Kidal region. The drone was precisely located in an area with the following geographical coordinates: 19 degrees 52 minutes 4.738 seconds north, 2 degrees 53 minutes 38.101 seconds east, 9.5 kilometers south of the Mali-Algeria border. Following this incident, an investigation was immediately opened. From the results of the preliminary investigation, the following points are worth mentioning. Communication was lost with the aircraft at a position located on Malian territory, and whose geographical coordinates are as follows: 19 degrees 51 minutes 50.526 seconds north, 2 degrees 53 minutes 36.099 seconds east, or 10.2 kilometers south of the Mali-Algeria border. The distance between the point where communication with the aircraft was lost and the location of the wreckage is 441 meters. These 2 points are all located on Malian national territory. The latest information transmitted by the drone concerned a meeting between high-profile terrorists planning actions. The aircraft fell vertically, which can probably only be explained by hostile action caused by surface-to-air or air-to-air missile fire.
You know, Mali calling back its ambassador, Algeria calling back its ambassador, they're not getting along at all. Now, Algeria reacted by saying that the drone crossed into Algeria territory. So they shot the drone into Algeria. But the question is, how can you shoot the drone into Algeria, then the drone falls several kilometers away into Mali? Is that even possible? Question mark. So Mali has taken them to court. They want to provide proofs, you know, like blatant proof that Algeria orchestrated the shooting of the drone in an act that's purely malicious. And also they accuse Algeria of hosting these terrorists because, in fact, they have proven that some of these terrorist leaders have crossed into Algeria for some time and they've received a massive reception in Algeria. That's what it is, fellas. It's used to play against Zambia because they believe, why can't Zambia hire Zambians to coach Zambians? Why do they have to hire people from other places? I don't understand Africans teams, you know, soccer teams and stuff in hiring white people. I mean, nothing against that. But why can't you promote Africanness so they can build themselves? I don't understand that. Now, you tell me, is Egypt right to react in that manner or not? Now, Burundi expels the Belgian official for talking too much, you know, into business that don't concern him. Do you think this is right from Burundi to do? Or this is shutting down freedom of speech? Is every freedom of speech necessary? Let me know how you feel about that. We good. Okay, we can have here and there some, yeah, but we cool, okay? So today we're talking about something very interesting. Mahamat Idriss Déby Itno. This guy, president of Chad. Here's Chad on the map. Okay, beautiful people, lovely place. He's the brand new president of the country. yesterday was almost unalived in his palace because a bunch of people that were looking to unalive him and change things around came into the palace and they were also unalived. So about 18 people were unalive last night because they're trying to unalive the president.
I don't find it credible that this was a terrorist act, as I was at the scene. However, the public prosecutor will provide clarification on the matter. In reality, they are a group of amateurs. They had no weapons of war. Their attempt was disorganized and completely incomprehensible.
This is very interesting. We need to go to the root of things to understand why they want to unalive these people and who's trying to unalive this person. Okay? Now, Mohammed Idris Deby is a son of Idris Deby, his father, who was president in the country for about 30 years. He ruled the country with iron fist. Now, the difference between him and his father is his father was a very good friend of the French. So French soldiers stayed in the country for a long time. After independence, France actually signed a contract with many of the African countries that were colonized by them that they will still stay in those countries despite the fact that they were free. In other words, you are free, you have independence, but we're still going to have our people, our soldiers stationed in your country for whatever reason. Well, some experts believe, why would you need your soldiers in somebody else's country? Well, simply because in case the president does things that you don't like, then you can just very quickly send your soldiers to straighten him up. How about that? No. They say they're there for security. They're trying to bring peace in Africa. Do you think that is the narrative that's true or the previous one? Anyway, let's get back on track. Now, a few weeks ago, Mohammed Idris Deby Itno said that he doesn't want to deal with French soldiers in his land anymore. He says, now we want to cancel the contract that we had signed long time ago with France.
Over time, this agreement has become outdated, completely outdated. It no longer aligns with the current geopolitical realities, the strategies of our era, or our legitimate expectations for the full expression of our sovereignty. The French military presence in Chad is not based on a reciprocal foundation. Chad must no longer accept from others what they don't accept for themselves. This is the sacred principle of reciprocity, the need for correction. It is now crucial for Chad to address the shortcomings in its international relations.
The contract that allowed them to be in our nation, stationed with military and tanks and aeroplanes and stuff. So apparently, the French were there for two reasons. Number one, the contract is signed much earlier in the 1960s that allowed them to stay in the country. Number two, because they were trying to, oversee the terrorism activities in Africa, like sending drones, make sure they see what's happening in Africa and stuff like that. Now, my question is, why would France need to be sending drones in Africa to see about terrorists? Why would you do that? Okay, so they say they don't want French anymore. Now, this is following up to what has happened to the French people just a while back. Niger kicked out the French, Burkina Faso kicked out French, Mali kicked out the French, then later on Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire. Now, Chad was the last resort of France. All these soldiers that were chased from Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali did not go back to France. The majority of them were transferred to Chad because Chad was like a buddy. They've been with the previous president, the father, for the longest time. They actually allowed him to be a dictator for 30 years. When you're a dictator that's supporting the agenda, then you're cool. They don't call you dictator. But if you're just trying to be strong to support your people, make sure the people have food, then you're the dictator. So anyway, the father was in power for 30 years and they felt that they had a great relationship. Now they expected from the son a level of gratitude. That explains the reason why Emmanuel Macron said this.
We had a secure relationship. In truth, it was of two kinds. One part was our commitment to fighting terrorism since 2013. We were right. I think some have forgotten to say thank you, but that's okay. It'll come in time. I'm in a good position to know that ingratitude is a disease that cannot be transmitted to humans. But I say this for all the African governments who have not had the courage, in the eyes of their public opinion, to bear it. None of them would be in a sovereign country today if the French army had not been deployed in this region.
As you can see, he said Africans did not thank them enough for their contribution in those countries. Actually, Africans are ungrateful. That's what you're ungrateful. We sent our soldiers in your country and you are ungrateful. Now, Mohammed Idris Deby had had enough because there was an instance where they were being attacked by terrorists and they needed help from the French soldiers that was stationed in Chad, and those soldiers were unavailable to fight as per France. So why are you in my country again? if you're unavailable to fight against terrorists. So he said to me, oof, okay, goodbye. Now, just after that, I think we had some session of speaking. I'm not sure whether we spoke about this here, but we said when you chase people like that, you need to create new alliances. You can't just chase Americans or French or whoever without creating an alliance because, well, what's going to happen next? They're clearly going to create something so you can see mayhem. The presence of the French soldiers in Chad was justified by the fact that they were there to fight terrorism. Now, you've chased them away. What does the population have to feel? If the population feel like there is peace, then it's going to be justified that, well, they were here for nothing. There was no need for them. But if they leave and mayhem start, then they go like, oh, okay, we actually needed the French in our country. That's exactly the point. So you tell me, who do you think armed those people that came into the president's palace to create mayhem and to try to unalive the president?
Vous êtes arrivé au moment où
You have arrived at a time when Chad has decided to free itself from the tutelage of foreign forces on its territory and to turn resolutely towards development. Who better than China to be an effective development partner?
peut-être un partenaire efficace de développement.
Do you think these people are just individuals that just decided all of a sudden to go and attack the presidential palace, knowing that it's rigged by military and soldiers? Or do you think they had support, or at least they were promised support from somebody, somewhere, in case they were successful? Let me know how you feel about this. Who do you think you have in mind a country that could have been the reason why these people attacked or sponsored this attack? Let me know how you feel about that. Now, the last resort for Chad is to find partnership, friendship, to talk to these countries right here from the Sahel, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. And that is the only way they can protect themselves. Because back in time, when these countries of ECOWAS tried to attack Niger, these other two countries, Mali and Burkina Faso, said, if you dare to attack Niger, you're going to be declaring war against all of us. And that is how ECOWAS did not attack Niger. My question to you is this. Do you think Chad need to call upon these guys so they can help them for security? Let me know how you feel about that. And now we're moving to Eswatini. Here is a map. Eswatini. Yeah, it is a country inside of South Africa. Yes, there are countries inside of South Africa. I know it's crazy. You know, that's the work of the colonialists. They come to take land, then they design a land, they call it a country, and you are stuck inside of the country. It's just crazy. It's like a human being stuck inside of your stomach. How do you explain it? That shows you how stupid these countries' stories are. There are two countries inside of South Africa. There's Eswatini and Lesotho. But if you look into South Africa, you're going to see South Africans that speak Swati and South Africans that speak Sotho. They are actually the same people. Let's get back on track. Eswatini AGOA benefit trade has been renewed for 2025 for the United States of America. Let's clap hand. Hey! No, stop. Okay, so not fast, okay? What is AGOA? AGOA is a trade system created by America which allows African countries to export their goods to the United States of America without paying tax or paying very little tax. So it's like you can bring your stuff in my country, you're going to pay very little tax, provided, there's always a provider, that you behave the way I want you to behave. So if I like men liking other men, you can't stop them. Or if I like this or that, you don't do that. If I ask you to say Russia is the bad guy, you better vote in the United Nations that Russia is the bad guy. Now, if you don't do things the way I ask you to do, then oops, you cannot come to my country and sell your stuff anymore. That is AGOA. Now, the relationship went sour in 2015 between Eswatini and the United States of America. Why? Because America felt like Eswatini was not being run in a democratic way. Well, look at the country. You call it a country, but it's actually a kingdom or something like that. Because there's a king, okay? And the king has many wives and the king is very happy. I'm not sure whether he has like 25 wives or something. Every year he picks up, no, I think it's exaggerated, but very close to that. Every year he picks up one virgin. I believe virginity is very important. So he chooses. Ladies come and he picks, he says, you, no, not you. That one? Yeah, he does that. So one time he was criticized for picking up a girl that was 16 or something, very close to that. And and some people say, well, back in time in Africa, people got married and their children at 16. So things changed. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about that. Now, Eswatini is one of 23 AGOA members of Africa. So many African nations are part of AGOA because they feel like they need to export to America at zero tax or very close to zero. Eswatini exported about $23 million worth of goods in 2022. And some of the countries that profit from AGOA is Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, and more. Now, should we be happy about this? Or do you think this is a form of slavery? Why do we have to export to the United States of America for us to be happy? Why can't Africans just export people to each other and be happy with one another. How can we not have a big market? Africa is a massive continent. It's a big country. Yes, it's a country. No, it's not a country. It's a continent. Well, it's a country. Well, I don't know anymore, because when Americans say Africa is a country, you get pissed off because you think they're ignorant. But when you look at Africa, it should be a country, shouldn't it be? Like America, right? With multiple states. But we're not there yet. But anyway, Africans should be trading with each other. So nobody has to tell somebody else how to behave and what to do, what laws to accept. Okay? And now we go to Uganda, fellas. Uganda is a beautiful country, lovely people. I had some of the best time in Uganda. My man, these people party every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday again. They don't play. It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas or New Year's Eve. They don't care. Ugandans will be in a street party. This is me in Uganda. Look at me. Look how happy I look. It's always a pleasure to go there. The Pearl of Africa. And I suggest when you have time to go to Uganda, go visit Uganda. Forget about Norway. You know, life is not just Singapore or Britain. Go to Uganda. You're probably going to find something very interesting. Okay, so in Uganda, they host a lot of refugees. Uganda has about 1.7 million refugees from Africa. You ask yourself, which refugees? A lot of them come from Congo and some come from Sudan, South Sudan. You know, these countries have been through wars and many turmoil. So obviously when things are bad home, there's killings and unaliving. What do you expect? I mean, people are going to walk away, right? They're going to try to find peace somewhere else, provided they come in peace, you know, they don't bring any drugs or any funny or dodgy things, whatever, you know. Congolese people generally, they're not into that. Sudanese people are also just Sudanese people. So, yeah. So, Uganda hosts a lot of people. Now, when you come to Uganda like that, they will accept you. They will take you to a camp. Okay. They take you to a camp. When you stay in a camp, they give you food and some money every month to allow you to live. So they take charge of you. Now, Uganda has changed its policy. They don't look after everybody anymore because they have no funding. They're only looking after the newcomers. If you arrive today, in a few days, they take care of you. They show you some plot or land where you can start, you know, planting your own food and that's how they function, because they have no money. Now, why doesn't Uganda have money anymore? Because normally when you accept to be a host country, you sign a contract with the United Nations that says, we're going to sponsor you so much billions per year so you can look after the people that come from bad places. Uganda signed part of that. South Africa also signed. Just in case, you know, these foreigners go to South Africa, they don't leave. Well, South Africa is a signatory country. They get money from the United Nations to accept refugees. So until the country or the government says we're not going to accept money from the United Nations anymore, you shouldn't really be complaining why there are refugees. Well, you can complain that there are criminals that are illegal, but you cannot complain about refugees, especially people that come from war-torn countries. Anyway, let's get back on track. Cool, right? Who's up? Okay, let's continue. So, what I'm saying is, Uganda is not getting the money. Why isn't Uganda getting the money? Because Uganda has been very expressive lately. The president of Uganda said he doesn't want to allow men and other men to be doing that, you know, that in the bedroom. No more. Not in Uganda.
I've been disappointed for a long time by the conduct of the West, the way you conduct yourselves there. But we just keep quiet. We just see how you do things, how the families, how they are organized, in all these things. We see them, we keep quiet. We never comment because it's not our country. Maybe you like it. So, since there is now an attempt at social imperialism to impose social values of one group on our society, then our disappointment is now exacerbated because we are sorry to see that you live the way you live, but we keep quiet about it. Now you say we must also live like us. That's why we say no. We say no. And am I worried? Not at all. We should be worried about what? Because to tango needs two people to dance. If the West doesn't want to work with us because of homosexuals, then we have enough space here to live by ourselves. and do business with other people.
Okay, don't promote it, don't talk about it. It's not part of their culture. They've consulted each other amongst leaders, spiritual leaders, social leaders. They don't want it. They've made the law in parliament. They don't want it. Now, guess who's angry? Them. That country, they're angry. They don't want that. They say you are violating people's whatever.
The enactment of Uganda's Anti-Homosexuality Act is a tragic violation of human rights, of universal.
There are many things that happen. To challenge them, the United States of America flew a flag. You know which flag we're talking about? They flew a flag very, very high in their embassy in Uganda. Imagine Uganda said, we don't want that. We have a law. This is not acceptable. Now you fly a flag in Uganda. That's a nice way to say, you know what I mean? Yeah. Crazy, yeah? Do you think they would do that in Saudi Arabia, Americans? They would never dare to do that in Saudi. That's Saudi Arabia. Well, let's do that to some African countries. I mean, what are they going to do? So from that moment on, where President Museveni started being very vocal about how he feels and his beliefs, they cut all the funding they were receiving. The money Ugandans receive for HIV people, no more free aid to HIV. You will ask yourself, are the HIV people the people that voted the law or not? I mean, it's crazy. They don't vote the law. They don't decide. Anyway, so even World Bank and IMF is not sponsoring Uganda anymore. So Uganda is not getting the money. And is this one of the reasons why Uganda cannot look after the refugees right now? So refugees have to struggle. They have to hustle. Some have resorted to selling the bodies. It's not a nice moment. So that's what it is, fellas. Today, Chad. You see, now you know where Chad is. This guy, Mahatma Idris Deby Itno, who is a 40-year-old president, has kicked out the French soldiers, and now there are rebellious people coming to. Who do you think sent those rebellious? I don't know. Let me know if you know about this. Eswatini has signed a contract. It's a beautiful place, Eswatini. Some of the most beautiful women I've seen. Trust me, don't play. Okay. Anyway, in Africa, you need to be very careful. Don't go just take somebody like that. And not just in Africa. We all know in Detroit there's a lot of HIV, so it's not specific to a specific place. We're gonna talk about that stuff next time when it's necessary, so you can understand the origin of it. It's not there for nothing. Somebody put it there. It's not because people are active. It's because it was something planned for a specific reason, for a specific group of people. They're closing down on people, fellas. They're closing down on people, your people. They're closing down on you and your children. While the United States of America has launched stricter student visa policies impacting who? African students. The USA, the United States of America, has got stricter student visa policies impacting primarily African countries. So things are not going to be the way they used to be in the past. It's over. I think it's coming about time when people don't want you. You need to, you need to look at yourself and stop saying they're not nice. Like, why don't you call me back? You're not nice. Why don't you answer my call? You're not nice. Why don't you text me back? You're not nice. Maybe you shouldn't be texting them anyway. Maybe you gotta stop texting them. Maybe you gotta stop calling them so they can value you. How about that? How about you find other friends? But I like him. He looks like a nice person. Oh man, look, he doesn't like you. Clearly he doesn't respect you. If he doesn't answer you back, at least after 4 hours, that's already cutting the line. Like 4 hours. Everybody have their phone in their hand, right? Listen, everybody have their phone in their hand. If they haven't answered you, it's not because he's busy. He's not busy, it's not work. You're just not that important. I'm sorry, I know I just hurt somebody's feelings right now. But I gotta tell you the truth. That's why you come here, right? You come here because you want to hear the truth. Everybody have their cell phones, It comes a time, whether you're the busiest guy in the world or woman, you will lie in bed doing nothing for a couple of minutes. You're gonna have your phone in your hand and scrolling. You see all those messages. People see your messages on WhatsApp even before they open them. Trust me, don't worry. Say yes and open. They've already saw the message. They saw the message. They just don't value you like that. Okay, so what are you gonna do? Cry over it? No. Put up your grandmother's pants and find out a friend. Give you some value, some self-value. Fellas, USA of America has changed things for African people. Number one, for your kids to get a visa to go to the United States of America, things have changed. Social media profile must be made public. Yes, they must scrutinize your social media. See your comment, see your post. Have you ever posted about Afghanistan? What did you say? Have you ever posted about USA bombing Iran? What was your stance? Were you agreeing with Mr. Trump bombing Iran nuclear facilities? Or were you against them? They need to see that. Your social media has to be open. No more private stuff. You're not going to get no visa. Number 2, the U.S. mission in Nigeria, meaning the Embassy of the United States of America in Nigeria, it says, if your child drops out of school, back to Nigeria. Pausing or not going to school for a few days, back to Nigeria. Abandoning or doing anything that's weird without telling the institution, which is the school, back in Nigeria. No more going to the USA, supposedly on a student visa and be staying home. None of that. Or selling a goosey in a corner to make some extra money. None of that. They're going to send you back to Ogunu State. Finish. To number 3, once your child is in the US, they may remain for the academic program duration. If they have emergencies, holidays, or internship, they must reapply. Okay? So, if your child leave, they want to come back, they must reapply for a visa. If there's an emergency, somebody shit on themselves back in Nigeria. No shit. Forget about shitting on themselves. Some auntie finally is getting married at 47 years old. Forget about that. What? Okay, Boko Haram. No, not Boko Haram. Okay, let's leave Nigeria alone. Somebody want to go to Uganda to do Buganda and stuff and get circumcised. No, leave the circumcision of Uganda. Anyway. So basically, if you travel back to Africa, you have to reapply. No more, your visa is open, you can go and come back and go. Finish. Number 4, they will cap your visas to 4 years, okay? 4 years maximum. So meaning, even if your program, okay, your studies program is beyond 4 years, after 4 years, you have to reapply for another visa. Okay, that's if you do good in school. If you don't do good in school, they're going to reassess whether you deserve a visa to the United States or not. And this is not just happening in the US. It is happening in the UK too. They don't want you, my brother. This shift primarily affects sub-Saharan African. Yeah. Okay. Now, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Ethiopians, and all that, those are the people that are affected. Okay. It introduces anxiety and disrupted academic plans. Like kids used to, with their family, make plans on how long they're going, when they're coming back. It's not going to be like that anymore. It's not smooth anymore. I'm coming back on Christmas. My brother, you come back on Christmas, you may have to reapply for the visa. And what are the risks? They may say, okay, for the 6 months you be in America, you ate too much chocolate, you looked at too much nyash from the white girl. Forget about that. You're not going back to the US. So people are not going back to Nigeria. Okay? Now, why are they doing this? Because of overstay. You don't go back to your countries, they say. They say you don't go back to your countries when you go to the US. Okay, Americans, when they go to Africa, they go back to America. I know you don't like hearing that, but I'm always going to tell you the truth, okay? Australians come to Africa, they do and they go. Okay, some of them will loot and stay. They also create business for your uncles to work. You remember that uncle of yours who's a fake engineer? He goes to that Australian company. I know they don't pay him adequately, but he got some pride. He tells people, I work in an Australian company. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, you don't go back. The Gabonese president, you see this guy, he canceled all national bursaries to the United States of America. Gabon used to give bursary to students to go study in the US. He said, no, I'm not doing this no more. He was speaking to his own people.
This year, there will be no scholarships for the United States and none for Canada either, because studying there is expensive. You elected me to tell you the truth. It's expensive, and those who go there never come back. Did he tell you that? He never comes back to the country. He's going to get his doctorate in medicine or something else. What does he do? He prefers to work here because it pays better. That's human instinct. He wants to live better in the country. What's the point of giving scholarships to Gabonese people who come here and end up staying here? Because everyone who gets a scholarship here doesn't go back. And what's even worse is that your children have dual nationality. I get it, they are Gabonese, but they're also Americans. So if Gabon doesn't do its part, America does its part. Why do you want to have 2 scholarships for the same child? We prefer to give the scholarship to someone who is going to Senegal, Ghana, or Morocco because we know they will come back. So if you have children, guide your children towards Senegal or Morocco, and they will come back, they will get scholarships.
He says, I'm not doing this anymore. Why? Because you guys come here, you never come back to Gabon. Why should the state invest in you so you can run away? You go live in America. No. Now, people were very angry because I spoke about it the other day. Some Gabonese people came from you must talk about your country. Gabonese are like South Africans. You talk about a country, they come bomb you. Talk about your country. You talk about your country. Yeah. We talk about all countries, man. We're not scared of you. I got big biceps. I'm not scared of you. I'll beat you up bad. I'm just kidding. I'm a lover, man. Okay? That's what it is. The UK is doing a very similar thing. What's happening in the UK? The UK says students overstay their visas. They don't return. And some students apply for asylum after arrival, imagine. You just arrive at somebody else's country. You haven't even used your visa as a student. You've already applied as asylum. Brother, we have a real problem in Africa. Africans don't like Africa, but they lack president. Africans hate Africa, but they lack president. So basically, they hate the country. They want to go somewhere else. But if you talk about their president, they get upset with you. Why? Because the presidency from their tribe. Africans don't want to be in Africa. But if you make a negative comment about their president, they come for you. Why? Because the president is from their country. I mean, what kind of reasoning is that? You hate your country. You do hate your country. If you don't hate your country, now why don't you return? Okay? Why don't you return? Well, I can understand if you got businesses here and there, you can go here, you can go there, you can, like some of us. Like, you don't go back to your country after 10 years. You want to stay in other people's country. You hate your country. You must admit it. Why do you hate your country? You hate your country because you hate the leaders. But you just want to have the monopoly of hating the leaders. You don't want other people to talk about your leaders because they come from the same tribe as your mother. And because they come from the same tribe of your mother, you are blind to all the negative things that they do. But you yourself, you will never live in that country. Now, what kind of disease is that? Americans racist? I'm just asking. You tell me. Are they racist for saying to you, go back to your country, your shithole country, and go fix it? Yes, because you don't want to fix it. Why don't you want to fix it? Or the government's going to abduct me. Do they abduct people in Africa? Yes, they do. Why do they abduct people? Because some other people tell on other people. Oh, those other people are also suffering, but they tell on other people that are suffering and they get abducted by the very government they don't like. How do you explain that? Now, can the government unalive everybody? They can't. Why can't people stand against the government and ask for justice? Africa's got gold, diamond, uranium, cobalt, you name it. All these Americans and Japanese and everybody wants part of Africa. They want strategic positioning so they can have the cobalt, so they can have the batteries, they can have the power for their vehicles that is powered by solar or whatever. They need Africa. Why can't Africans do something about that? You see that wealth is not the things you got underground. Wealth is not the gold, the diamonds, the uranium, the lithium. Wealth is brains, my brother. It's brains. Without the brains, you ain't doing nothing with your uranium. Listen, they can give you all the uranium you want. Look at this country. It's called DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. It's one of the poorest countries in the world. Poorest country in the world. There's a war for 30 years. People just die every day like mosquitoes. People don't count it. It's like dead. They just die. But they have gold, diamond, lithium, cobalt, uranium, manganese, everything. Okay? If that is rich, they are the richest country in the world. Why? Because there's no brain. I know they're going to get very triggered when you say that. Because it supports people that are in power because they are from their tribe. It's all about tribe. First let's talk about freedom. We want to be freedom. We want a Congolese, 100% Congolese president. He must be 100% Congolese. But then when the Congolese come together, then they start supporting whoever is in power because he's from their tribe. It's all about tribe. You see, this political party, you know which tribe is behind it. I know. Some people will come here saying it's complex. No, it's the truth. You know it's the truth. It's sad because that's the situation of many African countries. Now they say your children are not going to America and stuff because, look, Africans pray for visas. Okay, y'all don't know it. My American and Caribbean brothers, Africans pray for visas to go to the States and Europe. I know some of you will get triggered like, why are you putting us out there? Yeah, that's the truth. You do pray for visas. You shouldn't be praying for visas. They should be praying for visas to come to you. You are the motherland. But your country can't stand because, number one, many of you are cowards, you're scared. You are scared to stand and fight because all of you want to leave. Listen, freedom and liberation claims blood. Some people must go for others to continue. If you don't like it, you can continue making babies like Nigerians. 220 million people. So many people in the country now, they have to run into Ghana, to other countries and say people hate Nigerians. Because you can't stay in your own place. You have to stand against injustice. You have to stand against dysfunctioning government. You're scared to stand. But why are you scared to stand? Because a lot of you are snitches. How are you snitches? Because you snitch on each other. You go tell the private security and the private services, you see, my neighbor is the one that's leading the group. That's what you do. But in the same time, you don't even have money yourself. You lost. You lost because at the end of the day, even when you have brave people that stand for you, you kill them. You kill Lumumba. Didn't you kill Lumumba? This man here. Lumumba fought the Belgians. He stood against the Belgians for the goodness of these people right here. These people on the map. Lumumba, at the day of the independence, the Belgians had to give independence to the Congo. And on that day, the Belgian king was to make a speech saying, hey, we're giving you independence because you're brave now, because you're smart enough to run your own country. Lumumba said, no, you can't let him do that speech. I need to do a speech. He went backstage and wrote a speech right there. Yes, and he went on stage and said, you didn't give us independence. It's from our blood and tears. You beat us like animals. You made us suffer. We have fought for our independence. Yeah, that's how he spoke.
Independence fighters, today victorious. I salute you in the name of the Congolese government. To all of you, my dear friends, who have fought so tirelessly and valiantly by our side, I earnestly ask you to make this significant, the 30th of July, 1960, a truly memorable and deeply cherished date that you will forever keep indelibly engraved within the very depths of your hearts, a profoundly important date whose true meaning and profound significance you will proudly and passionately teach your beloved children so that they in turn will faithfully pass on to their own sons and grandsons the glorious and inspiring history of our arduous struggle for the precious gift of freedom. We have truly endured the relentless mockery, the harsh insults, and the painful blows that we unfortunately had to suffer each and every morning, noon, and night, simply because we were...
Guess who orchestrated his death? His own people. That's why the country is suffering. And I mean, you wonder why. Do you think God can send his person to come and liberate you and you kill him like that and you're going to be fine? You can't be fine.
So, Manuel?
Yes.
Are you happy now then?
Oh, yes, yet I am so happy. Not bad, huh? I am so happy.
Why are you happy? Because Lumumba is dead?
Yes, surely. It's just like I told you last time on television that if this man is not dead, then we wouldn't be commemorating him a little seriously. I am so happy. You can even see me laughing because I am so happy.
Doesn't it bother you that he was assassinated like that?
Yes, surely. The way he was assassinated like that. If it were up to me, if it were about me, I would even eat him, you know. If it were at my place, I would even eat him like we eat chikwang.
What do you truly think should really be done with the Lumumbists then?
With the Lumumbists, if it were up to me, if we arrest them, in fact, to be precise, if I were in the place of the head of state, or if I were an authority, I would send them all to Bakwanga and then we should cut off their ears. And today you cut off their ear, tomorrow you cut off their arms, the day after you cut off their legs, and you leave them like that from the end of their life until they die. So you take them and put them up like statues, like skeletons.
Yes, but...
People from the DRC need to go kneel down and ask God for forgiveness for unaliving Lumumba. Now, how many times have you seen white people unalive each other for black people? I don't know. Is Trump right? Yes, you must go back to your country and fix your country. Well, if you don't like your country because it's a shithole country and most of your people are just negative people, they accuse each other, they snitch on one another, then move to the next African country, provided that you bring value. Okay, have some good skills, have some good interpersonal skill, be well-mannered, you know, don't make too much noise. fit in, learn the language. From early 2025, minimum fund required for students has rose significantly. Now, if your child from Africa want to go to London and study, they must deposit at least 12,000 British pounds to 15,000 British pounds per year. That's the deposit, as opposed to how much, I don't know. Back in time, a lot of Africans have become British. You see plenty of them British. They're not even faithful to Britain. They are faithful to the African countries. So they must kick you out. I'm sorry. I know you're going to hate me. I don't care. That's the truth. The truth is you're not faithful to British. You're not, in your heart, you're not British. That's why you hate Kemi Benadok, that Nigerian woman who became British. You hate her. You say, why do you don't like Nigerians hate this woman because she said she's British. She's not Nigerian. No, you went to other people's country to get a passport for what? That's why they don't want you. You coming to my country, you want to have my passport, but you want to stay faithful and loyal to your country. It's not even normal. Now imagine somebody comes to your country, okay? He stays there, I love the country, blah, blah, blah. He gets the document. Then he says he's faithful to his country. Does that make sense? You feel like you've lost. Why do you have my citizenship? That's what I'm saying. So longer path to residency, good. Now instead of 5 years waiting to get a British nationality, you're going to have to wait for 10 years. It's good. Go back to your country, fix your country. Go back. People that are exempted are only the people that are looked for in the country by the government. They want to unalive them. Those one I can understand. For the rest, you need to participate. Come as men, stand up, wear pants, go fight. And I understand some of your countries are snitch. They will snitch on you, they will unalive you. That's why you're scared to go. Go to the next country where things are normal. God bless.